and opinions expressed on Explorers Secrets of the Truth or that of their guests or contributors are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. All information on Explorers Secrets of the Truth is provided in good faith. However, we make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of any information on this talk show or website.
From monsters and ghosts to otherworldly beings, join the Explorers as they venture into the darkest realms, seeking the truth to what goes bump in the night.
Oh, looks like we have lost Chad before the show went live. How fitting. Hopefully he comes back on, but welcome back, Seekers of the Truth. I guess I will start the show without him. Today is episode 93. And I guess while I'm waiting on Chad, I will do the usual spiel that we normally do. You can find us live on YouTube and Facebook every other Tuesday or whenever we're actually able to do the show. It's always hit or miss. I got a text. And he says we are not live. This is fantastic. If anybody is out there listening or possibly listening, give us a text in the chat and let me know if you could hear us or see us, because apparently we are having issues. And like I was saying before, we go live on Facebook and YouTube every other Tuesday. Looks like we are live on YouTube. So yeah, while you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. On Facebook, follow. We're on Twitter or X at Explorers Group. You can find us on our website at explorersgroup.com. And we're on all the major podcast providers. So while you're there, all we ask is you give us a 5-star review, and hopefully we will get bumped up in all the algorithms. But I'm going to message Chad and see if he could get back in. Otherwise, I might have to cancel the show because I do not want to do it without him. But anyways, tonight, while we're waiting on Chad, we're going to be talking about the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, PA. It has a long history of all kind of bizarre goings-on, but not just of actual prisoners. It's a lot of paranormal activity going on down there too. So Chad is trying to log in. Hopefully he gets in. And worst case scenario, ladies and gentlemen, if he does not get back in, we will just reschedule the show and have it at another night, and we'll talk about the Eastern State Penitentiary. But I'll give you a little bit of history on it. So in 1787, just weeks before the 39 delegates began to draft, sign, and enact the U.S. Constitution, a group of notable Philadelphians, including Benjamin Franklin, they established the Philadelphia Society for Alleviating the Miseries of Public Prisons. So I guess they were really concerned with the way the conditions and the nature of most of the American prison systems, and they were guided by their belief that humans had the ability to change their circumstances. So this society proposed an experiment to kind of transform the face of incarceration in America. And in 1821, at the urging of that society, the Pennsylvania legislature approved funding to build the Eastern State Penitentiary. And it was the first of its kind prison designed to encourage regret or penance through a strict system of solitary confinement with labor known as the Pennsylvania system. Oh, I think we have Chad back, hopefully, if his video populates. Well, while we're waiting for his camera to load up, I'll continue on a little bit of the history. So the British architect John Haviland's design was selected for this revolutionary project. His radial plan, featuring 7 cell blocks connected by a central hub, kind of like the spokes of a wheel, it was kind of like, in his words, watching convenience, economy, and ventilation. That's why that design was kind of put in place. So the penitentiary's medieval Gothic facade was meant to intimidate, while its church-like interior was intended to instill reverence. And in 1829, as construction continued, Eastern State admitted its first prisoner. And innovative as it was, this experiment soon faced its share of criticism. So let's see if we can get Chad on here. Ah, I think you're live. Can I say something so I can hear you?
I don't want to.
So since we lost you as soon as the feed went live, I kind of gave everybody a quick breakdown of what we're talking about, Eastern State Penitentiary, and a little bit of the history. So if you wanted to, and I did my spiel on where they could find us too, so that's kind of done and out of the way. So if you want to just kind of take over, I guess at the third bullet point there, we could start the show. You want to give a description of the penitentiary?
Open up Facebook and see if we're on it.
Well, we're live on YouTube. I can tell you that.
Okay. No, Facebook doesn't seem to be showing us live.
That's probably where the disconnect was. It probably crashed, but whatever. We'll just do it live on YouTube if that's the only one that we're on.
So, what were you talking about when I nicely came in?
Oh, I just gave a history from a side note that I had found, basically giving the history of the construction, how it came about with the society, the Philadelphia Society for Alleviating the Miseries of Public Prisons, which sparked the push or the desire for this prison system or reform of the prison systems in America. And it was just basically how it's kind of like a spoke or a wheel, the way it's set up with all the hallways going to that central hub and whatnot. And that's basically it. So if you want to start off about like your second talking point, that would be a good start.
The massive stone walls, cold crumbling cell blocks, and then energy that sinks into your bones the moment you step inside.
That's right.
Built almost 2 centuries ago, Eastern State was one of the most famous and infamous prisons in the world.
Yeah, but now it's a haunted husk filled with ghost stories, legends, and some seriously creepy photos. You cannot pay me to do a sleepover there. You could. You wouldn't even have to pay me. I'd do it for free. And one interesting thing about that place that I don't think we really touch on is it is not just set up for doing ghost hunting tours and everything. It's every Halloween they actually do like a walk through haunted house.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to it many years ago. It was pretty cool, but they push you through so damn fast you can't even really take it all in. You know what I mean? Like I would love to go down and do like the daytime walk tour and then do like a night investigation.
Well, I've had the privilege of actually being one of only 6 people inside of that building.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. Years ago, we went for the security meeting for the Halloween events they do there. And one of the perks after sitting through the bid meeting and all that was getting to tour the grounds. There was only three companies, 2 reps from each company, and we got the privilege of just walking through. Nobody else in the building, completely locked. It is definitely an interesting place. So
That's
tonight, though, we're going to walk you through the penitentiary, its groundbreaking design, its dark history, and paranormal activity that still echoes through the halls. But first, Les has already told you where they.
That's right.
So let's get into the history of Eastern State Penitentiary, which opened in 1829 and was considered revolutionary at the time. And the reason it's considered revolutionary is instead of punishing the inmates physically, it was aimed to reform them through isolation, repentance, and reflection. It introduced the Pennsylvania system of solitary confinement.
Solitary, like one guy per cell, no talking, no visitors.
Exactly.
I guess that would be solitary.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, come on. We lost you again, Chad. Try and log back in. Here we go. Best out of 50. Looks like I got dropped for a second there, too.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Yeah. So, prisoners lived completely alone, vaulted in their stone cells with this tiny these skylights they called the eyes of God, meant to inspire moral reflection. Guards even wore felt on their shoes to muffle their footsteps, and some inmates were hooded when outside their cell to prevent even a glance at another human.
Well, I mean, that's horrifying, and it's kind of like a haunted monastery built by introverts.
Well, the mental toll was so severe that reports of hallucinations, mental breakdowns, and suicide was common. And even Charles Dickens, after his visiting in 1842, wrote that the solitary system was worse than any torture of the body.
Jeez. And that place stayed open for how long?
Until 1971.
Wow.
Over 142 years.
I didn't think it was open that recently.
Yeah, they still had prisoners until 1971 in it.
Jeez, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and it held like notorious criminals like Al Capone, the bank robber Willie Sutton. But, as decades passed, the overcrowding, the violence replaced the silence. And the reform idea faded. And it just became the place became very brutal.
Right. Well, speaking of that, let's get spooky, right? So with much more suffering in the walls, I'm guessing it left some, leftovers, if you will.
I would definitely say so from my personal time there. Countless episodes I've actually worn the Eastern State Penitentiary logoed shirt with the actual wagon wheel, spoked wheel on it in blue with the can. And the one Al Capone shirt I wear was actually his mugshot from Eastern State.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Jeez.
Yeah, they're
Learn
both
something new every day.
threadbare nowadays, but now paranormal researchers believe Eastern State is one of the most spiritually active sites in the country. You've got the intense emotional trauma. Thousands of inmates pass through the system there. Many dying inside, some even being murdered. So that's a fertile ground for residual energy and also intelligent hauntings.
Yeah, well, not to mention all those isolation cells. I mean, people are like literally losing their minds in that silence, and it's like just fuel for paranormal activity. And
that's exactly what people have reported for decades. Is after the prison, closed, the guards, visitors, and even city workers began reporting strange occurrences, whispers in the empty hallways, shadow figures darting across doorways, unseen hands tugging at your clothing.
Well, and you don't need to be a psychic to feel creeped out in that place.
No, not really. Just to kind of share a personal experience there. The sales rep that was with me when I was there for the bid meeting, that person's great grandfather had spent some time there.
Oh.
And when we were walking through the hallways, you would hear, like I said, there were 6 people total in the building, like in the entire prison, inside that wall.
There was nobody else walking around or working or anything.
Nope. There was one person. One of the companies left right away. The sales rep and I, the head of the Halloween stuff, and 2 other, a sales rep and another rep from a company were there yet. We were walking down the hallways in the cell blocks.
Yeah.
And you could hear somebody whispering from inside the cells as we passed.
No kidding.
Yeah. Couldn't make out what they were saying, but you could hear like somebody just low talking, like a whisper.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. Now, back then it wasn't, iPhones and recorders and all that stuff. I mean, I was at work, so I couldn't just walk around with a, K2 meter and a voice recorder.
Digital recorder, yeah.
Yeah.
Or back then it was mini tapes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. This is, how long, I mean, I've been out of security since 2012, 2013. I stopped contracting, so it's been that long ago. And it was just weird because like you would walk by and you'd be like looking around thinking like when you're walking by the cells, you're waiting to see some like staff member inside like doing something, talking to themselves, like working on something. Because I mean, this is legitimately pre-Halloween setup.
Yeah.
So they walked us through the entire Halloween thing that they were doing that year, and like the, like how at those events they have like the staff cutouts where they can like go through a door and end up on another section of the building or another section of the display that they were doing. So we would go through like those, the cutouts, all that. So we were thinking like, oh, there's probably somebody like setting up some stuff, getting stuff wired in or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Walk by looking. It's middle of the day. It's not nighttime or anything like that. And you would like look in the room. It's a tiny room and there's nobody in there.
Wow.
But two of us crystal clear heard somebody talking from inside there. And it was a very low whisper, which if you go back to what we were talking about, it was solitary and they weren't even allowed to communicate with each other.
Right.
So, well, let's talk about the location inside there and some of the far more active areas than other parts of the prison.
Yeah, some hot spots. So, give us the haunted map, man.
Okay. So you go to cell block 4 is one of the most infamous. Guards and visitors have reported seeing a shadow figures dart between cells, and some have heard blood-curdling screams echoing with no source. One visitor in the 1990s claimed to see a ghostly face peer out of the darkened cell and then vanish.
Interesting. Well, this sort of activity that I wish we would catch on camera.
Yeah, that's a weird thing because I've had those weird, like at St. Albans, the one time I stopped in at the gift shop because I was on my way to an event out past there and I wanted to stop and just see if they had shirts. And when you walk into the gift shop at the time, you walk in the door and one of the stairwells is right in front of you. And like in the darkness of the stairwell, I could see somebody standing in the shadow, but there was nobody there. And it was like, to have had a camera at that moment would have been great to just snap a bunch of pictures and see what came up.
That would have been freaking cool as hell, man.
Yeah. And to continue with Eastern State, then there's cell block 12, This one is known for disembodied laughter. Investigators have captured strange cackles on audio recorders. One paranormal one paranormal team even said it sounded like a child laughing in a place that never housed a child.
Yeah, that's messed up. I mean, there's not many things creepier than the sounds of ghost children. I don't know what it is, but like it's just because I guess it's the things you really don't want to think about is like deceased kids, you know, and then to hear them, oh, that's just freaking creepy. Primarily because what do the Ghost Adventures always say, that demons use the sounds of children to lure you in and trick you or taunt you, right? You know, although we did see a ghost kid at the Haldeman. Simultaneously. I mean, that was the best part, is like you saw it as soon as I saw it and we were both confirming. What's funny?
All I could think of is South Park's album, Simultaneous Lovin' Baby.
Oh,
you
God.
Yeah. When you said you and me, I was like, oh, God, he's going into
that was
it.
Chef, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, to kind of go back to that, the place maybe never housed children, but think about, we're talking about something that was built in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And it ran until 1971. If you think about mental health back then,
yeah,
could somebody at some point over the years have had the intellect of a child?
Okay, yeah,
been there, and maybe even vocally still had the affect of a child.
Okay.
So when you hear this energy repeating or this intelligence laughing, it may have been somebody who was there who was just childlike and never really, mentally matured, was there. Something, that's where their energy has stayed for some reason. Maybe they still feel guilty for something they did, or, maybe they're trying to get justice, whatever the background could be on it. But you never know. Like, to me, that always jumps out as like, to give it a somewhat rational explanation to the irrational.
Yeah.
Is think about the conditions. Like, it is also think about the mental torture of the Quaker system, the prison system. This was the Quaker system. The hallucinations, the mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
Traumatic brain injuries. Some people revert to a childlike presence.
Yeah.
So is this maybe somebody who had a mental breakdown or had a head injury and reverted to this childlike presence?
Could be.
And
or
now
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and now what we're hearing is neither an intelligent energy or it is, I mean, the place is all stone. So is it just energy that's trapped with the stone tape theory, and it's just repeating? And now, we hear it and we think, oh, it sounds like a kid, but it couldn't be a kid because kids were never there. Well, the person could have had a breakdown, could have had, maybe been intellectually, disabled.
Yeah. Or take it a step further. What if it is a child spirit that was attached to the person who murdered them, and they served time in the penitentiary, but the child remained? You know what I mean? Because a lot of time kid killers get killed in prison.
Yeah.
Well,
it's almost like the American Werewolf in London thing, where the victim of the wolf is seen by the next wolf, or in that chain because they were friends or whatever. He saw them. So, what's that old meme that goes around? There's nothing sweeter than the sound of a child laughing at 3 a.m. until you realize you live at home and don't have kids.
That's right.
And then it's the scariest experience of your life. So, cell block 6 is another hot spot. A shadowy figure pacing along the catwalk, and a voice whispers behind you. And death row is located in cell blocks 15 and 10, have some oppressive energy.
Mm-hmm.
People feel ill there, cameras will malfunction, batteries are instantly drained.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's a common occurrence that happens, before electronics are drained of their power, and I wonder if these figures appeared before or after the batteries were drained. Like, were they drawing the power to manifest from the equipment? You know what I mean? That's a common theory.
hmm Yeah, and it's also interesting, like they say on the catwalk. So to me, the catwalk might have been a guard,
Mm-hmm.
the figure of a guard, and maybe it's that eternal vigilance of this person that keeps them there, and they're
That's a good thought. Yeah.
overseeing the happenings, even though, or maybe the spirits are still there.
Yeah.
The prisoners, just because they're dead and buried doesn't mean they're not still serving time, and this prison guard is there to watch over them.
It's a thought.
Oh,
I mean, that makes perfect sense. What's that?
I said they're always thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Then I formulate sentences with them, and sometimes they actually make sense, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just random ramblings.
That's right. Well, we do have some people tuning in. We have Cindy and Alicia from YouTube, so I'm glad to see both are able to view us from there. If either of you could check on Facebook to see if we are going live on there, I'd greatly appreciate it. I think we're only live on YouTube though. And Alicia says that ask the question, do guys ever mentally mature? Simple answer is no, we don't. No need to.
No, it's a coping mechanism.
That's right. That's right. All right. So, what else happened here, or what's the next thing? Oh, we're going to paranormal investigations and evidence for the next segment.
So now let's talk about hard evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Hard.
We don't.
Eastern State has been.
Not at all, do we?
No, not one bit.
Nope.
Eastern State has been featured on nearly every major paranormal show: Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Destination Fear, you name it, and they've left with some evidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. What kind of evidence was captured by the different groups or shows that visited Eastern State?
In 2004, Ghost Hunters captured one of the most famous pieces of footage, a humanoid figure appearing at the end of a hallway in cell block 12, then running at inhuman speed before vanishing. Now, of course, the team was shocked and consider it one of the most authentic paranormal videos ever aired.
I remember that one, and I remember it was pretty creepy, but is it legitimate? I don't know. See, I always Cindy says I don't see it live on Facebook. Great, fantastic. Thank you for checking, Cindy. Appreciate it. Initially, I always loved Ghost Hunters. When they first started, I was 100% hooked. I loved that show. I loved the fact that it was, really the first ghost show of that type. I guess they kind of spearheaded the paranormal reality, and originally I felt like they were legit because their findings were very minimal, and they were your traditional, an EVP here or there, a bumper, you know what I mean? And then after a while, I guess people were kind of like, well, they never catch anything, so what's the point? And then all of a sudden all this stuff started happening. So to me, it was kind of like in 2004, that was kind of when they were starting to push some things. So was it real or was it them just trying to enhance things to keep ratings? I don't know. So, and ever since that one girl, was it Amy Bruni or whatever, was the one that came out saying that they faked shit and all that stuff. And again, was she saying it because she got kicked off the show, or was she being honest? You know what I mean? Because she was able to kind of vent her frustrations. I don't know. So I don't know. I take their stuff with a grain of salt is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're going to consider it one of the most authentic paranormal videos ever aired because it's theirs. Like,
Yep, right.
you know, I don't ever honestly did not watch Ghost Hunters. I thought they were not very good at what they did.
I enjoyed them in the beginning when it was Grant and Jason. I liked the original core team, and with what was the girl's name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. Chris, no, what the heck was her name?
Katrina?
No, it was something. Was it Williams? Something Williams?
The one that went on to be on Josh Gates' show?
Yeah. Oh gosh, Chris Williams.
Yeah.
Chris Williams. Yeah. God, I can't believe I couldn't remember her name, but yeah, I loved it when it was just Chris Williams, Cindy. Yes, and Cindy brought up a good point. They did try to debunk some of the stuff though, which was cool. They did that in the beginning too, which is another reason why I liked it, is because they didn't just say everything was a ghost and they tried to debunk it and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I liked him in the beginning, but then, like I said, it kind of fizzled off, and then they branched out in all those different offshoot shows, and then it got a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, I think when they got to like Ghost Hunters International,
that's where they were losing me.
They jumped the shark.
Yeah, I was like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was just never a fan of theirs. I don't think their investigation methodology was all that great. Again, it's another one of these ones where, it's only us two in the building, except for you have a group on the second floor, a group on the third floor, and you're on the ground floor and you're hearing something above you. It's like, could it be the people walking above you?
Right.
Like, it's really easy to debunk your own stupidity when you know your show's 99% stupidity.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I was more of a Ghost Adventures person.
I'm
a little more sophisticated in my palate.
Right.
So speaking of Ghost Adventures, in 2011, they had multiple devices go haywire simultaneously.
I remember
the
that.
The REM pod triggered with no visible movement. The EVP recorder recorded phrases like "get out" and "don't follow." Their thermal cams also caught cold spots dropping over 20 degrees in seconds.
Well, didn't we just talk about Ghost Adventures and how they always get the get out or claimed everything was demons? And we were just talking about, was it last show, I think?
Yeah, no. The show before.
Was it okay?
Yeah,
I knew it was recent.
Yeah, we did
we were talking about the Whaley house too, with the crazy, what was it, like a 15-degree drop in temps in the hallways.
Yep.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in Eastern State, I could see that though, just because it is stone and everything's like steel or stone. So I could see drops like that.
Yeah, I would assume there's probably cold spots in those stones, like. And again, drops 20 degrees. Now, are we talking what is that thermal cam reading? Is it reading the air or is it reading the object behind the air?
Right.
Because if it's reading something 15 feet down the hallway, like the back wall of a cell or something like that, that's exposed to the outside, well, that wall is going to be colder. So is it really reading, there's an air pocket here that's all of a sudden dropped 20 degrees, or did it zero itself into, this back wall, which is, exposed to the elements, is 20 degrees colder than the front of the room, which is interior.
Right.
with, you know,
right.
more trapped in heat and stuff. You know, the whole EVP thing of Get Out, I just think that is cliche.
Yeah.
And again, too, like EVPs are so subjective on what it again, this is where the investigation methodology is always flawed at best
hmm
in these shows, is they tell you what they hear.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a play this for 30 people write down what they hear, and then you compile the top 5 answers and then research it again and, you know, put it in front of another 30 people with those 5 answers as an option. After they hear it, then present these 5 and say, which one of these 5 did you hear? Oh, I heard Get Out.
Yeah.
Or Get Down, or, you know, but it's always the cliche Get Out. Like, it is the horror movie cliche, the Amityville horror Get Out.
I
mean,
and a lot of times with especially with Ghost Adventures, they'd be like, "We hear distinctly," and then they'll say whatever it is that they heard. But when they play it back, I'm like, I don't hear that at all.
Class A EVP.
Yeah. Class A,
Yeah.
and it'd be like,
Dude,
it clearly says "Get Out." I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're creating a scale of recognition for the classification. This is a Class A EVP. Do you notice they never played like a Class F EVP? Like, this is we're not really sure what this says, but, you know, Jay thought he heard this, Billy thought he heard this, and Aaron might have wet himself when we heard this.
You know, and it would be, I mean, I guess they're only presenting Class A's because it's what they propose to be the most clearest, but it would be nice to hear some of those that may be of a lower quality to give a comparison.
Yeah, I think, and that's one of those things, like, to make these shows more believable, like more legit, you produce your episode. Like, we all know it's going to have, you know, 4 or 5 things that are caught that are, you know, if you're a diehard believer, you're going to believe 100% that's a ghost, or that's a poltergeist, or a demon, or whatever you want to think it is.
Yeah.
The logical person's going to say, that could be this, or this. The skeptic's going to say, well, no, 100% it's this.
Yeah.
But if they would do a compilation thing where it's like, here's our episode, here's what we're presenting as the show, but then have a website or something like that, or a web series where you can go and EVPs from Eastern State Penitentiary 2011 Ghost Adventures, click on it. And like, hey, this is, you know, even if you use their classifications, here's the Class A's that we feel are Class A's. Here's a Class B, a C, a D, and F.
Right.
And, you know, have some, you know, maybe later post narration, like, we thought we heard it say, turn around, bright eyes.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we think, but we can't, you know, we couldn't come up with a consensus. If there was 4 of us listening to it, 2 of us heard turn around, bright eyes, 1 said turn around, brown eyes, 1 said, you know, and put that out there where people could honestly review their work. Like, they want to talk about scientific method. Oh, we use the scientific method. Well, no, you don't, because you're not peer reviewed. Yeah. This would be a way to let peers of a non-scientifical science actually review your evidence and say, I don't think you guys got what you think you got. You got to have an ounce of humility, because the show is already going to be on the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the episode's going to be out, and that weekend, say, that's when they release the file for Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
And then, you know, for people who are super interested in it, or you know, paranormal research groups, they could go in and look at it and say, hey, you know, we're thinking about these 4 locations. They're all relatively famous locations. we've went back through and reviewed some of the evidence from a national or the, creme de la creme of investigation shows. And they presented all this stuff. And even they, had some stuff where they were like, we got this on film, but we're not really sure, it stands up to scrutiny. So, judge it on your own characteristics. And think about it, for a longevity of a show, you could go back through and instead of creating 10,000 spin-off shows, you could do a paranormal roundtable discussing the evidence you left on the cutting room floor with other paranormal researchers, scientists, kind of like Ghost Adventures did in the documentary, where they went to scientists and stuff like that and asked these questions and like showed them the footage and got opinions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if you really wanted to make a real effort to make these shows real, they need to present all this stuff as available to the general public, because we're seeing, they always claim like, oh, we were only locked in here for 12 hours and we got all this footage. And when you come to find out, they're rolling film for about 72 hours. They may only be there 12 hours, but they're rolling film. And then they always have, this was caught off camera, or, when we were over here, we caught this, and they have something. Well, that could have happened on a Thursday night and they're investigating it Saturday night. And they just know like, hey, when we reviewed Thursday night's footage, we found this, ball rolls across the room, for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So they can add it into the show. But I mean, I think that would be a way to present these shows and get people to have a little more faith in it. And like, as investigators or people interested in this, I know a lot of us would just sit down and grab like an episode that they have and be like, hey, I remember that episode. It was really cool. And I'm going to be in that area. Is it worth going and taking one of the history tours, or the haunted history tours, pulling up this stuff and being like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. They got that. And they, because I mean, they even do interviews that don't get used.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many people, eyewitnesses that they interview, and they're like, they might have 10 people and whittle it down to 4 because these are the most outrageous or built up stories that they have.
Right.
And then again, some of these shows just flat out lie about their history and,
yeah.
Their evidence and all that. Now, EVPs, to get back to Eastern State, now that I'm off my diatribe, the EVPs are constant at Eastern State. One team that recorded what sounded like a man sobbing and muttering, "I didn't do it."
That's sad.
Another picked up a growling voice simply saying, "Mine." Paranormal researcher Mark Nesbitt captured an EVP in cell block 4 saying, "Leave the door open."
No, that gives me chills. So it's like a ghost still wanting or waiting for freedom. And Mark Nesbitt, isn't he the dude that you always talk to in Gettysburg? The author?
I've talked to him a couple times. I wouldn't say I talk to him all the time, but he's the
guy down there.
One of them.
Yeah.
He's the one that started Ghost of Gettysburg.
Yeah.
He's also, I think, did the first walking tour in Gettysburg, like the first haunted night, ghost tour of Gettysburg. Again, one of those people, like when you go to a shop, it's a very nice shop. The people are very nice. Some of the evidence is sketchy at best. There's a lot of orbs, photos, and all that, and the belief in that kind of stuff.
Well, at least they're posting everything for people to kind of formulate their own opinion. So that's kind of neat that they put it out there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, you and I, knowledge-wise, know enough about cameras and stuff like that, especially you with your, career field. we know what causes orbs in photos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so some people are going to, I debunk it instantly. I don't accept orbs or anything you got to draw a circle around. If you got to draw a circle around it, I don't see it.
Right. Right.
So now visitors also report poltergeist activity.
Mm.
One woman on a daylight tour felt her coat tugged, only to turn around and find no one behind her. In another case, a heavy cell door slammed shut right after a group walked past it. No wind and no one near it.
Mm. And that's impressive because those doors are like solid steel and they're thick. And it's not like and they're most of them aren't like tilted or angled in such a way that it would kind of force them in, to move at all. So that one I always love when you're in the old whatchamacallit, prisons and whatnot with the doors slamming, because that to me it takes a lot of force and a lot of energy to do that. Oh, and one we're going to get into the hauntings for famous people that were imprisoned here. And a quick sidebar, I think you mentioned before that Al Capone did time there, right?
Yes, he did. He just under a year in 1929 for carrying a concealed weapon. And his cell was unusually luxurious. It had oriental rugs, furniture, and even a radio. But Capone reportedly did not sleep well. He claimed he was haunted by the ghost of a man he helped kill during the St. Valentine's Day massacre, Jimmy Clark.
So Al Capone, like the most ruthless mob boss in American history, was afraid of a ghost. But didn't he also do time at Alcatraz too? I think he was in prison in Alcatraz, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, like he loves those haunted prisons.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's probably part of the reason why a lot of them are haunted.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah. His cell is actually preserved at Eastern State. It's one of the rooms that you can kind of walk by. It's actually on a corner. It's not in the regular part. It's in the center hub almost. It's not in one of the wagon wheels. And
so closest to the guards though.
Mm-hmm. It was they have the oriental rug, the record player, radio in there, chairs, his bed, all that stuff is actually still in there.
That's pretty crazy. Like, that kind of goes to show that there had to have been some sort of shadiness going down, because why would they accommodate in a prison like that? You know what I mean? Like, to put all those creature comforts in for somebody who did atrocities. I don't know. To me, it just kind of makes you think, like, how did he get away with that?
Well, he paid for it.
I guess. But
I mean, and one man's atrocity is another neighborhood's good fortune.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The guards were terrified by what they heard. They said they overheard him crying at night, begging Jimmy to leave him alone. He'd wake up sweating, claiming Jimmy was standing at the end of his bed. Now, also remember, Al Capone died from syphilis, which affects your brain. Was this early onset issues from the syphilis?
That's a pretty good point there. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I wonder if that could be a part of a lot of the issues there too, is with these people, the inmates and whatnot, because I'm sure a lot of them were not of the best health either. So I wonder if that played a part with a lot of the things that they see, or at least what the inmates claim to have seen. I don't know. But all right, so skeptics and science. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, we always try to balance our beliefs with science here. Mm-hmm. So skeptics argue that most of the phenomenon can be explained. Old buildings make noise.
Right.
lighting can trick the eyes, and
Mhm.
long-term isolation can lead to hallucinations.
Sure, but like a shadow sprinting down a hallway doesn't sound like faulty wiring, nor did any of the ghost hunters spend any long-term isolation in those places, like a few minutes at best, I would say. So I don't know if long-term isolation would cause hallucinations, to people that are ghost hunting.
Well, exactly, but now some effects could have a more natural answer,
Okay. All
right?
right.
Like infrasound.
Okay. We both fell
Molds,
victim of that, I feel, when we were at
yeah,
the old farm.
mold spores affect the cognitive abilities, right?
Definitely in that place.
Or electromagnetic interference. The volume and consistency of reports make Eastern State a genuine mystery.
Hmm.
When multiple people have experienced the same phenomenon in the same location over decades, it's hard to dismiss, but not impossible.
Right.
So you do have old wiring, you do have integration of more modern electric.
Hmm.
So what's to say there aren't faulty wires or power still running through some of the old wires that are causing some of these electromagnetic spikes, which is, if you have a bad wire on a wall, is it heating up the wall and causing cold spots in other spots? Oh, because this wire touches the wall over here, it's heating up this section, but the lower section, which is closer to the ground, is staying cold.
Yeah.
The mold spores, you know, mold can affect so many different things, not just cognitive ability, respiratory. So people saying, oh, I felt short of breath or this or that. Well,
Yeah.
you're breathing in these spores. Is it affecting your lungs? Is it causing, you know, dizziness? Like, oh, I felt like something was, trying to take over my body. I felt all dizzy and woozy, and you know, you're
Yeah.
breathing in mold. Could it,
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like
do
kind of
that kind of?
tripping in a way, you know what I mean? For
Yeah.
lack of better terms.
Well, if you think about it, argot poisoning. Argot is a mold that grows on barley or whatever,
Hmm.
which they believe is what led to. I mean, argot basically is used to create LSD.
Oh, geez.
So this is also what they believe led to some of the hysteria in Salem during the witch trials,
Mm.
which they found argot spores on in items that would date back to then for carrying grain and stuff like that. So,
That's
you
crazy.
know, yeah, you're taking a lot of things that could be like, yeah, the whole like seeing a shadow person run again. We're taking a television show that's going after ratings
Right.
and basing one of our arguments for paranormal activity using you know subjective evidence.
Right.
Again, though, if you and I went and recorded a shadow figure running down a hallway and disappearing, our best intentions is we were there ghost hunting, we tried to find this stuff, we found something, but somebody's always going to look at it and use the argument of, well, they're trying to become the next big ghost hunting show, so they're going to have questionable evidence too. It's like
Right. Right.
lack of full disclosure on everything collected causes these questionable at best situations.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a sad thing too. And I know we talked about it before. It's like, well, take us for example. Like we do our show, we do our own investigations when time allows and whatnot, and we feel like whatever we're presenting is, we can't explain it. Like
Mhm.
this is something that we got. We don't know what it is. Let us know what you all think. But then it's kind of like like those Bigfoot people. You know what I mean? Like they're, oh, I found this or I saw this or saw that, and immediately you're like, ah, they're full of shit because they want to see that, they want people to believe them and blah blah blah. So immediately we kind of instantly go to the negative. No, I can't believe them because they're into it. But yet we want people to believe us when we present it. You know what I mean? It's very hypocritical in a sense that we just automatically not want to believe just because of a certain thing, And actually, Earthy Ed brings up a good point. He's like, I feel if you're looking for for the supernatural in for lack of better terms, spooky place, your mind could play tricks on you, making it hard to discern from paranormal for some paranormal investigators, and that's true too. So when you go looking for it in scary places, you're almost like you're going to make something out of anything because of the environment,
Well, yeah, I
kind of jumping
would
around
agree.
here, but
No, I would agree with that because, like, again, it goes back to MTV's fear. If I tell you a story enough and provide you just enough evidence to get you to buy into something, I can make any warehouse in the world that we just built 6 weeks ago a haunted prison.
exactly, yeah.
I put you in there in the dark. I fed you enough information. You're going to, if I tell you at 3 a.m., you're going to hear banging from this area of the prison. And at 3 a.m., something falls anywhere in the prison, you're instantly going to tie it to a story I told you that at 3 a.m. in the boiler room, you're going to hear this banging.
Right.
Well, you could be on the complete opposite end of the prison. Something falls,
like plaster off wall or something. Yeah.
A rat running through a hallway knocks something over. And right away, your brain is going to say, well, that was the boiler room. That had to be, they told me at 3 o'clock in the morning. One of the things that you brought up, though, with the whole, like, believing, like, the Bigfoot stuff and all that, the whole way I look at it is the burden of proof in this situation is on the presenter.
Yeah.
The presenter has to prove without a shadow of a doubt their evidence.
Yeah.
The average sidebar peer who's looking at it just has to present the questions that would make a reasonable argument in the favor of what they're saying.
Right.
So, yeah, it is hypocritical, but at the same time, I feel like anytime we've presented anything that we've felt was paranormal or lacking a rational explanation that we could come up with, we've always allowed people to have that, hey, I think it's this, and have that conversation with the person and say, okay, well, what about this then? Like, if you're saying it's a mouse farting in a cotton patch, okay, well, let's walk this through. Let's look at what you're saying, because you may be 100% correct, or you may be partially correct, and that's something we didn't take into consideration.
Yeah.
So again, I think anytime you present this kind of stuff, the burden of proof is on the presenter.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel full disclosure from these shows would be the simplest way to enhance the reputation of the field.
Yeah.
Because I've personally seen and experienced too much stuff to not believe in it. But I'm also one of the most skeptical people when it comes to other people telling me something or presenting something. And I can come up with in 2 seconds a rational explanation for what they're presenting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. Look at all the stuff that you and I have experienced together. Just take that into consideration.
Yeah.
We've seen, like I mentioned before, we both saw that little boy at the Haldeman at the same time. We heard something running across the attic floor, and I'm just using the Haldeman for example. We got that puma or mountain lion roar or whatever the hell it was, and we knew where everybody was at that time, because actually when we heard the thing running across the attic, I don't think any of the other guys were there at that time.
No, Russ and the other person remember they went to Walmart to pick up a television.
Yeah.
You and I were the only two people in the house, because we had a call. I think her name was Shirley, the lady who ran the ghost part of it. we had to call her because remember there was tape up across the attic steps, and what she told us was, "Hey, just be careful. Use a flashlight when you go up there. There's huge holes in the floor." And we went up there, and there's no way somebody ran across that. Ran across what would have been the ceiling above us and across the floor of the upstairs.
Not without jumping.
Where we were. Yeah, not without coming back down in front of us because they would have fallen through the holes.
Right, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And that's just one location. Now, again, the Haldeman has yielded a lot of results for people over the years that are, not necessarily like a lot of EVPs, some weird stuff in photos.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it goes back to, well, if I'm not in the room with you and there's not cameras on you and there's not 100% disclosure that this piece of evidence came at this exact moment, here's the film, here's the layout of the room, here's what's going on, it's very easy to just say, that could have been somebody else's voice that was in the room or next door or, a floor below you. Because like when we were at the orphanage, I was sitting in the hole and could hear you talking up in the front of the building.
Yeah.
Through an entire building, stone walls and the floor and everything. I could hear you crystal clear sitting in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or in the pit.
You were sitting right next to me too. Yeah. That was very paper thin floors of that place.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what my point, what I was getting at is like, we've experienced all this stuff, but yet we're still skeptical. You know what I mean? Like I believe 100% that there is something after we die. Like there's some sort of a paranormal realm, for lack of better terms. But we've experienced so much, but yet we're still subjective to a lot of things, even stuff that we've found. Not I'm not just saying, of what other people have posted or presented as evidence, just our experiences alone. We're you know what I mean? We're like, I don't know. Like, I still want to see a ghost. But we have. You know what I mean? We've seen a ghost. We've experienced. We've seen multiple ghosts actually. That thing coming down the hallway when we were living in the old apartment in college. We're both watching this thing. We both heard. Matt Northey says, "I believe what I've witnessed and can't explain." Yeah, so I know Matt has seen some stuff, and good to see you tuning in there, buddy. I don't know. It's kind of like that. It's just weird how. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm. I don't know how to get the point across, but I just think it's weird how we've experienced so much, but yet still feel we need proof. I don't know what I need. I mean, other than just sitting down and having a full-on conversation with a spirit or whatever, like I could physically see it and I could physically talk to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But there's that weird disconnect that with all that we've experienced, still we need more proof, or I need more proof.
Well, yeah, and I think that was kind of my statement earlier was it's, I've experienced enough stuff I can't explain and enough stuff that, I've tried to explain for years and still can't.
Yeah.
To not believe in it. But at the same time, if you tell me, people see my house, people that have lived here a lot longer than I have in this town that house is haunted. I've lived here going on 3 years. Nothing super out of the ordinary. Nothing super out of the ordinary. Nothing super out of the ordinary.
Like a light bulb turning on in your wife's hand that wasn't even plugged in anything?
Yeah, but that could be,
not something that happens.
Yeah, normally, but it's.
I mean, unless your wife has some kind of crazy
She could have had some
Energy.
static or something. Yeah.
Maybe.
Hearing her call my name and her hearing me say something and then it not being either of us.
Mhm.
But again, could that have been logically, could that have been something outside we both thought because we were both home on opposite ends of the house that it was the other one calling for us? I thought I heard it from this room. She thought she heard it from that room, but it was really something out back.
Mm-hmm. Or hammers mysteriously turning up in rooms that none of you put them in.
Yeah, well, that also could be a lot of things because my tools constantly end up in other rooms or in different spots than I leave them in. But that also could be my wife thinking if he doesn't put this away, it's going to get put into his skull. So,
True. I know all about that one too.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff but if you talk to anybody who drives by this house at night
Mm-hmm.
for years, will swear this house has to be haunted.
Yeah.
Like full on Amityville horror haunted. I had to check my window to make sure nobody was looking at me.
Well, it's got to make you kind of feel kind of cool given our background that you live in the haunted house in town.
Well, what I really wanted to do was we have a local Facebook group for town. We have a couple of them. I'm sure every town probably has them nowadays.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always people just Gretchen about something, praising something. If you ever in town, don't go to McDonald's here. It is neither the worst McDonald's you will ever go to, or the kids are trying their hardest and they're the greatest example of humanity. It's one of the two. I have never gotten anything I've ordered there has ever been correct, but I wanted to go on and just be like, hey, with Halloween approaching, for people in town, what do you think is the most haunted house in town?
Yeah.
And just see what people say. A, it might be a good way to get an investigation out of some people.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Or B, hear all these people say, well, that log cabin at the end of town, yeah, that's a house I was always told was haunted. And I'll be like, it's not. But again, sure, what would justify in our mind 100% this is irrefutable evidence? We have seen stuff, we have recorded stuff, we've witnessed on several occasions stuff happening that isn't logically explainable. We have shared experiences where it is not just, hey, you and I saw this happen at this place, but other independent people have come forward with, hey, when I lived there, this happened.
Yeah.
Very similar to experiences we had. And these are post facto explanations, not pre facto. So it's not like we were tainted into believing, oh, that thing we see coming down the hallway, or like when we use the pendulum and you can see the chain hanging down and straight up above it, and you see what looks like two fingers pull it and it starts swinging. That kind of stuff. We witnessed that. Well,
not only that, but what we said before is we witnessed numerous things at the same time. It's not like you were saying oh, well, we witnessed it and somebody else experienced something similar years ago or years after. We saw it, the little boy, the ball of light in the hallway. I'm getting goosebumps. The person which sounded like my little brother calling my name, and we heard somebody come up the steps, going through the silverware drawer. It sounded like they were rifling through the knives. Then my bedroom doorknob, and then I open up and you're halfway down the I'm really getting goosebumps talking about this. And you're coming halfway down the hallway because you're hearing the same thing. Come on.
Yeah.
That's not coincidence.
Yeah. And I have to agree with Matt, his comment there with everybody else is suspect. It's I would love, I believe in the possibility of Bigfoot, of Sasquatch, of Yeti, Yaren, Yahweh, whatever cultural name there is to be inserted. I believe in the possibility. I have seen evidence to make me believe the possibility, to guide me to it. But then again, I look at a lot of researchers' research and I look at it and I'm like, you're on a gravel road. You're not in the woods. You're on a gravel pathway that is a hiking trail basically.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. If they have to cross that hiking trail to get to a water source or whatever habitation area, people may see them in that area. Yeah, it's not impossible. People see them crossing roads. Like it's
right.
Animals do cross roads. We see deer do it all the time. But a lot of times it's so easy, especially now with like AI.
Yeah.
There's people out there who have to make themselves an AI girlfriend. I mean, there's apps that create these AI partners for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people out there who are AIing girlfriends. There's people that are AIing ghost evidence or, voiceovers.
Or that actually really entertaining one that you sent me about the talking Bigfoots.
I love those. Like
those are funny.
Yeah, those are hilarious. And that's the thing is, to me, like I said years ago, the subject matter has become more acceptable, which means more people are open to talk about it, which allows more information to be shared. More people are more comfortable giving their firsthand accounts of things they've witnessed. Because things like Jack Link's using Sasquatch in their commercials, the local advertising group down here using UFOs and Bigfoot. I mean, they are the cheesy Bigfoot costumes, like the bad, Spirit Halloween version of the costume.
Yeah.
But they're using it in a funny way, which is making more people open and like, for this being part of the, heavy Baptist Bible Belt, people are laughing about it. They're joking about it. They're accepting more of it. And you're finding more people once they kind of get to know my interests that are saying, hey, come here. I want to talk to you a second, and pulling me to the side and saying, hey, when I was a kid, my grandpa and I were out on the farm and, it was towards dusk and we saw something that wasn't a bear walking at the corner of, far out in the corner of the field. And it, from what we could tell, it was, it was pretty tall for the distance we were seeing it at. It was pretty big and it wasn't a bear, so this stuff is making it more acceptable. But again, it's like you're watching these AI, scariest moment caught on camera. And it's, like an AI video, like or an AI insert into a video where it's like, the stupid one of it's a doorway and you see the thing like peeking around the corner of the doorway, but it's real high up in the door. So, oh my God, that door is like 8 foot tall, 7 foot tall. And that thing's at the very top. So the thing has to be 7 foot tall. Well, no, it's a freaking flight of steps. And I could mimic it with, a spooky mask and some, paint on my hands and just reach around a corner and look at you and then dart back. And all of a sudden, oh, it's a scary monster caught on video. This is crystal clear evidence of the paranormal.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I to your point with all this stuff and not to mention just all the hoaxes that have been busted. You know what I mean? It's sad that we can't take everything into consideration, that we have to look at everything as and immediately deem it as bullshit. I wish it were more where, hey, look at, we caught this. I don't know what it is. We could have a more serious review of it. But unfortunately, to your point, the internet has saturated false hoaxes and it's too tough anymore.
Well, it's like some people getting AI girlfriends. I mean, they can't keep one in real life, but somehow AI has made them one.
Hey, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you're researching from a parking lot, it's not that hard to be happy. So,
true.
Eastern State Penitentiary is
Yes.
more than just crumbling stone and rusted bars. It's a monument, though, to humanity's attempt to reshape morality and a haunted echo of everything that went wrong in the process.
Right. I mean, it's like the building itself kind of remembers every scream, every confession, every soul that gave up hope in those walls.
And whether it's a residual energy, intelligent spirit, or something else entirely, the truth is, Eastern State Penitentiary feels alive.
Yeah, but it might not ever be empty.
And that wraps up Explorers episode 93. We explored the stone hallways and shadowy corners of Eastern State Penitentiary.
That's right. And I, for one, am sleeping with the lights on tonight. Not really.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you'd probably fall asleep sitting there.
Yep, I know, Jesus. Where are we going to be going next episode? Well, hopefully we'll get another Dead Air out this weekend for everybody. Hopefully.
There is always a possibility.
There is. You never know. You just got to keep watching Facebook if it works and YouTube.
Yeah. So I believe our next Explorers episode 94, will take us to the haunted island of Galveston.
That sounds awesome. All right, so that should...
You've clearly never been to Galveston.
No.
Yeah, it's not awesome. It's the actual translation
I remember. Yeah,
is Rattlesnake Island.
Yeah. Hey, that's the place with that hotel that is like, oh, did my light go off? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because I just saw my screen.
No, that was the ghost behind you. Turned out the light.
Turning it off.
Time to go home.
Let's get freaky. Is that the place? There's like that haunted hotel, and they tried to turn it into like I think it was bought by somebody who practices witchcraft, and they trying to turn it into like a paranormal kind of attraction.
I don't recall that. It's been years since I've been there.
Oh.
It's a very interesting place. It has a lot of history. It does have, Native American history. It has Civil War history. It has flood history. Just overall, tragedies and stuff like that. And
sounds like the perfect concoction.
Yeah, I can't knock it. It isn't one of my favorite places in the world, but it's not a terrible place. I don't want the people of Galveston, picketing out front of my house.
They'll make the trek. They'll make the trek.
I mean, if I ever go back there, I don't want to have the, hey, you talked bad about us.
Yeah. All righty. So that wraps it up for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. And it was good to see that some people have tuned back in. Like Earth Eddie said that it's been a while since they caught a live show, but they caught it tonight and they tuned in and they chimed in, and I appreciate it. Matt tuned in tonight, and Alicia and Cindy, of course, as always. Great to see you. So, we'll be back hopefully in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have a pre-recorded Dead Air out this weekend. But until then, stay curious and keep seeking the truth. Good night, everybody.
Good night.